Silvergrove was quaint and charming. Nestled amidst rolling hills, the town resembled a postcard brought to life. Neighbours chatted over picket fences, sharing gossip and smiles. But when the sun dipped below the horizon, a change crept over Silvergrove. It was during these hours, under the silent gaze of the moon, that the whispers began. Little Millie Thompson was the first. Playing in her backyard as dusk settled, she paused, a delicate hand clutching her teddy bear. A whisper, barely audible, brushed against her ear. It called her name, Millie. She turned, scanning the empty yard. Her heart pounded a frantic rhythm against her ribs. She called out, "Mummy!" But there was no answer, just the rustle of leaves and the growing chill of the evening air. Her small hand trembled as she clutched her mother's skirt later that night, recounting the unsettling experience. Her words were met with a comforting hug and a dismissive smile, as her mother assured her it was just the wind. But Millie knew better. It wasn't the wind. The whispers didn't cease. Each night the whispers returned, weaving their way through the darkened streets of Silvergrove. Names and fragments of sentences floated through the air. The whispers were always soft, just beyond the realm of clear understanding. Initially, the townspeople dismissed them as figments of imagination. They attributed the sounds to the wind whistling through the trees. But as days turned into weeks, a seed of unease began to take root in their hearts. Sleep, once a refuge, became a source of anxiety for many. Parents who were once quick to dismiss their children's fears now lay awake listening, their hearts pounding in sync with the ticking of the clock. The whispers were becoming more frequent, more insistent, wrapping themselves around Silvergrove like a shroud. John and Martha were startled by a sudden noise in the night. Martha clutched John's arm, her eyes wide with fear. John tried to comfort her, assuring her it was just the wind, but Martha whispered, her voice trembling, that she had heard a whisper, someone calling her name. The whisper seemed to echo in the dark room. John frowned, realizing he had heard it too, a faint murmur carried on the night air. He had dismissed it initially, but seeing the fear in Martha's eyes, a shiver of unease ran down his spine. Mrs. Peterson had confided in a hushed tone that she had heard her name whispered last night. She mentioned it sounded like it came from the woods. Mr. Davis, usually jovial, stirred his coffee with a grim expression. He shared that his son had heard the same thing and was now too scared to sleep alone. Fear, once a whisper itself, now echoed openly through the once peaceful streets of Silvergrove. The townspeople, their faces etched with worry, gathered in small groups, their hushed conversations filled with speculation and dread. Children were kept indoors, their laughter silenced by the fear that clung to the very air they breathed. The park, once a symphony of joyous shouts and playful screams, stood eerily deserted. Evenings were shrouded in an unsettling silence, punctuated only by the creak of a porch swing or the bark of a dog, their sounds amplified in the stillness. The whispers, once dismissed as imagination, had woven themselves into the fabric of their lives, a constant, chilling reminder of the unseen force that haunted their town. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, and a question began to form on the lips of every resident of Silvergrove. They wondered who or what was whispering their names into the night. Was it a harmless prank or something more sinister, something that lurked in the shadows, feeding off their growing fear? The answer, like the whispers themselves, remained elusive, lost in the growing darkness that threatened to consume the once peaceful town of Silvergrove. And the whispers continued.